Hello, and welcome to the Old Farm Bus Podcast. This is the back of the bus session.
Hello and welcome to the Old Farm Bus Back of the Bus Sessions podcast. Today I've got a new mate on here. I mean, I've heard a lot about you. I keep seeing you around. We're in the same circles, but we've just never met. So I'm really excited about this. George Gretton! Yeah! We go mad!
Thank you for having me on.
How you holding up, brother?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm on the bus.
Have you ever been on a podcast before?
I did a podcast that was like virtually recorded like over Zoom.
Zoom chat.
Yes, but never an in-person one.
What were you doing on that? Was it a music chat? Or?
Yeah, it was a music chat. It was about sort of songwriting and production and stuff like that. So.
Oh, dude, I'm sure we'll get into them avenues and venture off to there. Now, the reason you're on here, though, I love doing these podcasts. I really do, because I get to go on my social media and use it for good. Some people have bad mental health with it. I used to have that, always attached to my phone. But now I can go on and just look at talent and be a little talent scout and then meet amazing people from doing it. But the video that I saw was the one, are you in a church?
Yeah.
Dude, it's a recent one, isn't it?
Yeah, we recorded that for So Far Sounds, and just out of the blue they emailed and asked us to put together a video for them, like a live stream recorded gig, pre-recorded, but so they could live stream it. And it was just an amazing experience. We went to St Mary's Church in Nottingham, and we had sort of free reign of it and just recorded, and there was just 6 of us doing the whole thing and produced this like 25-minute gig, and it was an amazing experience.
So Far actually email you and then want you to go and do your own production of it?
Yeah, so basically we had a gig booked with So Far about March last year, and it got cancelled obviously because of COVID. And they basically said, like, we'll let you know if anything else pops up. And then out of the blue, they emailed us and just basically said, like, we want these videos. We're partnering with Jameson, so there's a little bit of budget for you to like hire a venue, blah blah blah. But yeah, we just want you to send us a video. So we did it, and the response has been amazing, and I loved it. Every
element of it is done perfectly. Whoever's done the audio side of things, obviously the performance side of things, the filmmaking aspect, it's perfect. So how did you conduct a perfect team to make that?
They were just all my mates, basically. They were just all my mates.
Hey lads, if you're watching this, can you be my mate?
Well, literally, my buddy Sam Coffey is just an amazing videographer, and I went to school with him, and he has just started doing his freelance thing and he's been shooting a lot of stuff. So as soon as they said that, I just thought, I'd love to get him involved. My guitarist Sam, he's also known as Mix by Sam, and he mixes a lot of music for Nottingham musicians. So. He was the perfect guy to turn to mix all the audio, and then my drummer, and then those 2 guys who recorded all the audio. We just got together. It was amazing. It was such a good experience, and the response has been amazing as well.
Dude, how many's seen it now? What views are you kicking up to?
At the time of recording, probably like 32,000, I think.
Oh mate, that's exciting.
Yeah, man.
Imagine being in a room with that many people listening to your track. I've got goosebumps now thinking of it.
Yeah, I know. It's strange to think of it like that, because these are just tunes that we've like just made in my bedroom basically, and just taking into a massive church and hearing all the natural reverb and stuff was one surreal moment. But then thinking of it like that, like 32,000 different people listening to it, it's bizarre.
I think there's a good chat to be had on views and likes and that sort of side of things on social media, but maybe it was an ugly side when I first got into music, because I got into it really late. I was probably 21, 22, and you may have heard my story, but it was through a knife crime incident, lost a friend, found poetry, and I was told all my life dyslexic. But then I got encouraged by my dad, who was a great catalyst to why I started creating more and more and more and going off and performing. And I put it on Facebook when Facebook was actually good. Facebook was Facebook back in the day. I did this rhythmical mic page, and I hit the algorithms. I didn't know what algorithms was then, but I was posting every Tuesday, and the views would go from the first one where I think people probably felt sorry for me. Like, oh, look what Mike is trying now. But we'd get maybe 600 views to 1,000, which is nice looking. And then I kept putting. And it got shared on a big page once, and it got to like 30,000 as well, or hit something nice. And it was a nice piece of poetry that I'd made, and I just, Dad, oh, look at all these views I've got. There was probably an ugly nature to that as well, because then I was chasing statistics and numbers and all driven by that. But it does create value in what you do, and it shows what you're doing is being viewed and is important.
It's really dangerous, I think, because you get so excited about it when it's going well, and then you can put your heart into something, and then it gets nowhere near as many views, and you're like, why isn't this? Sometimes, you know, I've put my heart and soul into making this, and it's not getting shared. So I think it is great, and it is really important, and it does mean it's getting shared. But for me, it's you've got to sort of not get too excited when it's great, and not get too down when it's
a great attitude.
Yeah,
be balanced.
Yeah, exactly. Just you know, stay the course and figure it out.
Because and then another thief of your happiness is when you're comparing to others and you're seeing everything they've done, or even on a superficial level, somebody's posted a picture of their abs out or bum or whatever it is, and got 400 likes or clicks, and then you've spent 3 weeks on a project, and you get about 9 people, and one of them's your mum.
Lots of them are my mum.
Just, oh no, what am I wasting my time at? Come on, abs.
I need to start posting more pictures of my bum, I reckon.
And singing. Come on.
A bit of both,
I'm in. So, are you hugely musically driven? Is that something that if people describe you, would that be the way they describe you?
It's pretty much all I do now. It's just music, and just sort of lock myself away and just make stuff.
Thanks to Boris.
Thanks to Boris. I mean, we're all locked away now, but I just spend my whole life doing it, and it's the main thing I want to do. I want it to be my career. I want to just make stuff, and I want to gig, and I want people to enjoy my music. I don't really care about obviously being a massive pop star or anything, but I just want to make myself, and if some people find a value in it, then
I probably do. I say this too much on a podcast, but it's because everyone I talk to are people I wanted on, and I wanted them on because I love their sound or I love what they're about. And with you, you will become something. Listening in and hearing what you create and the big sound one man can do, it's breathtaking.
Thank you.
You create what, like Air Lewis or something like that. You're listening, and there's multi-layers and multi-tracks and ambience being created, and then tempo change. It's powerful, really good. But you can do it live as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm lucky enough to have 2 amazing bandmates who help me with everything. So it all just starts with me in the box, and I'll just spend ages just producing it. But then I take it to them, and they bring so much. Joey, my drummer, who grew up on the same road as me, he's just like probably the best drummer I know, or up there, and he will just make anything sound 10 times better. And then Sam,
can he do the jazz drumming as well?
He can do a bit of everything, mate. He can do a bit of jazz drumming. He can do. He's just like so creative as well. And we've got him on like a sort of hybrid electronic and acoustic setup, so he plays like a sample pad and then some real drums as well. He's adapted to that really well.
I want to bop him on the head. Stop it.
I send him like the stupidest drum beats because I'm not really a drummer. So when I'm producing tunes and I will make the drum tracks, I'll just sort of like drag and drop samples and like copy and paste it, and then I'll send it to him. He's like, this isn't a drum beat, like this isn't what a drummer would play. I'll be like, learn it. And he does, he adapts really well. So fortunate enough to have 2 guys who help me make it like a massive thing live.
Does that mean, so it's not conventional, it's you're playing 4/4s or
I will literally be like dragging and drop, and my whole thing is like I want my music to like catch you off guard sometimes, so
sort
like,
of lo-fi-esque.
Exactly. So I'll be using samples, and I'll be like, let's swing that a little bit, or this sounds a bit too straight, let's put the snare where it shouldn't be there. I just like literally move things around the Logic project and just try and make it catch you off guard. But then when I send it to Joey, and he's like, well, how am I supposed to play that?
Do you think you've grown that for any particular reason? Because how I deliver lyrics isn't rappy. I get bad name calling going online sometimes. When you spit, you sound like this, or you can't do it. And I feel I'm trying to just be me. I'm doing poetry on top of a track, and I've made my own sound towards it, and you do get better in time. Did you start off quite naive to music and not knowing all of it, so you've done it by accident?
I mean, for me, I do think I found what I consider to be like authentic to me now in terms of my sound, but it wasn't always like that. I've been in lots of different like bands and stuff, and like when I first started, I was in a band with all my mates from school, and like they're like some of my best mates, and had such a good time doing it. But towards the end of it, we were basically making like indie pop music, and I was trying to like basically just be the next whoever we were listening to.
Yeah, of course.
And then I got towards the end and I started just listening to more music, and naturally I just started throwing more influences in. And that was when I was kind of like, actually maybe this isn't what I want to be doing. Maybe I want to completely sort of rebrand and find my own thing. And then it's just come over time of just experimenting with sounds, like experimenting on Logic, and just spending a lot of time just clicking around trying to find the right happy accident.
It is your sound now, isn't it? I've listened to it. I've listened all on Spotify, pretty much everything you've done, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you for them views. But you definitely could tell if you came on in a playlist, oh, that's George Gretton on now. 100%. That's how it feels.
Thank you.
Would you say then you plateaued on that and you're happy in this phase you're in? Or do you constantly want to add, adapt, and find different sounds?
Yeah, I'm a big sort of...
Will we hear like African drumming?
Yeah, literally. I'm like a huge sort of stickler for just trying to find new music that I've never heard before, and just like different cultures. I've been listening to a lot of like Somalian funk music and stuff like just like loads of, and I just like, because I found this band, I forget what the band, there's a band called Dur Band from Somalia.
What?
From like the 70s, and they use the craziest sounds in there, like I don't know if it's a guitar pedal or a synthesizer or what, but they're using the most bonkers sound, and I'm like, how do I get a bit of that in my music? So I'm always like looking around and trying to find stuff, and you'll hear like me just nicking sounds from different cultures and stuff and throwing it into my tracks.
How do you discover these? Is it on Spotify? Do you go on like
Spotify? Spotify. I'll go down like YouTube rabbit holes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'll try and get recommendations. I've got a lot of musical friends, so they're always sending each other music.
And do they try and catch you off guard? I bet George hasn't heard this, and then you're like,
it's less competitive than that, but I think I've got a few people whose ear I really trust, and I know they'll know if I like a track. My siblings probably know me the best. My brother sends me music all the time. My younger sister sends me music all the time.
It's lovely when people go out of their way to they've listened to something and feel, oh, that'll connect with you. Hear this. Because I like what you said about competitive. Sometimes there is that idea, oh, I found this first.
Especially among like, I feel like electronic like DJs and stuff, there's often, from my limited experience, there's often the sort of like, oh, no one should know, like if I play this track in the club, then I can't tell anyone what it is, because there's that sort of like competitive side of like, I know this tune.
That's crazy, isn't it? It's such a strange mindset.
Yeah, it is. I think for me, I just want to, if I find a good tune, I want to share it with
universal,
people who I know will like it.
Inclusive.
I
I think I've had that in my own psyche before, though. I know I can reflect to how people have been. I remember Fat Freddy's Drop. Have you heard of these guys?
I've come across them.
Oh, I love them, man. And their first album, based on a true story. And I just went down this YouTube rabbit hole, hit loads of algorithms, sent me down there. And that was my backing sound for a long time. But then when they started coming to Nottingham, I knew these first. And it's such a playful attitude. I don't get tied in by it or egoic by it, but I know the buzz you get. So have you got plans then with your band and what you're... With lockdown, we don't know how long it's going to be. We don't know if we'll have bloody festivals back. I'm so desperate, man. Can you tell?
I am, man.
I don't know what to do with myself. Been making online festivals and stuff of my own, but what do you think you're going to do with this twisting time?
So it's a good question. I was like sure at this point last year, I was like had everything lined up, things are going well. I was like, this is going to be the year for loads of gigs. I'm like, I'm going to really like gig my socks off this year, play it everywhere and anywhere, and just get out there. We like the three of us, when we play live, we've got so much kit, and we all shove it into my tiny little red Peugeot that you've seen outside, and we're all there like
coming up the farm
driving.
Track.
I've got a guitar on my So we've done like a lot of gigs that and around, and we're like, this year we're just gonna do as much as we can, and obviously that didn't happen. I think we played one gig last year.
Really? Oh, I keep forgetting we've been in this for a year.
Pretty much.
Wow.
So that's So yeah, coming into this year, I want to pick up the gigs as soon as I can and just get out there, play anywhere and just share my music with people and see.
Is that what you were before? Because we said on the bus you were part of the Maze Days, the Knots crowd.
Yeah.
Would you every week be gigging?
I feel like to start with we would. Yeah, especially my first band, we would literally just take everything that came our way. We put on our own gigs at, do you know the Boat Club by Forest Grounds? Yeah. We put on our own gigs there when we were like 17. We just put on our own nights there, and then after that, we started playing the Maze regularly and stuff like that, and then it turned into the Bodega and stuff like that. And
I just had a really funny memory from the Boat Club.
Yeah.
I've got Lewis. Do you know Lewis from Concrete Rose?
No.
Oh, he's tattooed on my arm. Here he is, a little silly sausage, and I'm a tuna pitter. There's a story to that. Lewis was in Unknown Era, the bass player, and then he went on to make this reggae band, Concrete Rose. Really good band. But we used to come to the farm, and when we were just procrastinating and not getting much done, so we'd be playing FIFA all the time, and then we'd be sat in our pants talking about how we're going to make it as artists. I'm going to go and make a business and do these things, and then we're like, another game.
Yeah. Classic.
That was our life for a while.
Yeah.
But anyway, one day we decided we'd wake up because we're practically living here. And he goes, do you know what? Today we just make a song. We'll come up with a song first, and then we'll play FIFA.
Yeah.
We made the song in about 20 minutes, probably, let's say an hour max, put it online, and then started playing FIFA. And then we went back to it, and it done really well. It was just going everywhere, shared, doing really good. So then we got a gig offer from the Boat Club, and they're like, "Oh, lads, love this. Would you come and do a gig for us?" So yeah, we signed up to this gig, went in and give it a go. Now, before that, they wanted us to promote. So I got the ukulele, and I can't play music. I know 3 chords on ukulele,
I know
maybe
3 chords
4.
on ukulele, so yeah.
You got
Everyone knows the 3, yeah.
The C's good, the G's nice. But we were going, he's a silly sausage, I'm a tuna pitter, because I was eating a lot of tuna pitters at the time. We're going to do a show for you. And I had a massive beard. I was in my pants, and Lewis had a big afro. We just did this terribly daft song, and that did really well. So then we're looking at each other going, mate, this Boat Club, we're going to get hundreds of people there if we're not careful.
Yeah,
this is going to be packed out. Thousands of people.
Let's wind it in a bit. We don't want too many.
So then we go to this gig really nervously, turning up, take a couple of our mates, get there, empty. Not a one soul, just a promoter and a sound man.
Yeah.
And then it's like me and Lewis on stage with a guitar playing to our 4 mates. So that's my Boat Club story. So
I've done many a gig where you're just playing to the other bands that are there, or like the other acts.
I mean, you don't get so disheartened now, do you? When you've matured a bit in your artistry and craft, you sort of think it's just practice. It's just another stage, and one of them people might be, you don't know who you're speaking to or singing to. So.
Yeah, exactly. And you will literally hear an interview with any artist ever, and they'll always have a story like that who've made it, but they'll say like, yeah, there's been times where if you like my laptop's crashed on stage, or like my guitar string broke and I couldn't do it, or there was no one there. Like there's always disaster stories.
You've got to have them.
You've got to have them. Yeah, it's a learning curve for sure.
So then I jumped into your story of what you're going into though, and you want to start doing more gigs and getting back on that train.
Yeah, so we were doing loads of gigs with my old band, and you just over time I started becoming more, not selective, but sort of being like putting more into one gig. So I'll be like, I've got one gig and I'm going to try and pack that one gig out rather than a gig every week. I'm going to try and make each venue full. And after that, that just sort of snowballed, and I tried the same sort of technique with my current setup, which is just me and my 2 bandmates who play with me. And we're just trying to gig, and hopefully this year we can get out even further.
I think that's great what you said. Just to go a bit further in, why did you make that decision? Because for me, I highly saturated myself, and I do it with my music, to be honest, but it's a passion project for me now. So it doesn't matter if I'm bringing a song out every week, because I just love creation, I can do that. But if you're going into take it as a profession and you want to be a bit more serious about it, you've got to be a bit more tactical, I suppose. So was that towards your thinking?
Yeah, it was. I think we had played like some amazing gigs and some awful gigs, like you said, and it got to the point where we're like, okay, how do you make each gig like one? Because my favorite gigs are ones where it's packed out. I think everyone does. Like, no one wants to be playing to an empty room. So how do you do that? And it's just like, well, if you make more of an event of the gigs that you're doing and make it, you know, it's like such an important thing, and it's your main talking point for a while, then I think other people will feed into that, and then you'll hopefully have a really amazing packed out show. And it is hard, and it doesn't work all the time. Like, you still do get dead nights and stuff, but
it's turning it into an occasion.
Yeah, turning it into occasion. That's it. And I think it's amazing getting experience gigging every week, but I think I got to the point where I was like, I just want these gigs to be bigger and better. And how do you do that? Yeah.
It is true, isn't it? Because if I saw you week in, week out, if you see your name arise again, I'll just think, oh, I can see him next week. And people keep putting it off.
Yeah.
And then it can go on for months.
Yeah.
But if you bring something out or do something every 3 months, oh, if I miss this one, I can't see him until December now. I can't see him till whenever. So I best get to this show.
Yeah, and I was like that with music as well. Like, I put out a single and I was like, I don't want to put anything else out for ages because I want everyone to be focused on this. But you can't really do that anymore.
No,
I feel like with streaming now, you've got to be constant. Yeah,
it?
It is. With Instagram and Spotify or whatever, you've just got to be posting stuff all the time and sharing stuff all the time. And yeah, it's different. So maybe that would change with gigging. I don't know as well.
Have you managed to keep up with that? The tempo changes of the times of social media.
I like it comes in waves for me. Like I'll have like at the moment I'm in a hot streak where I'm like, yeah, I've got something to post every day. I know what I'm posting tomorrow. Okay. And then there's other times where I've just been like, I've got nothing in the backlog. So yeah, it is hard, and I don't enjoy. I think if I wasn't trying to do music, I don't think I would be on social media. I like to think I wouldn't. I probably would, but I like to think that like I'm only here for like trying to plug myself and listening to my friends' projects as well. But yeah, I don't enjoy being on social media. I don't enjoy what it does to me, and I don't enjoy like my psyche after being on social media for a few hours.
At least you're conscious of it, though.
Yeah, and it's not easy in lockdown as well. I think because there's not a lot to do and there's not a lot to like focus your day. You can just spend like countless hours on it, and it sort of uses you rather than you.
Yeah, that's it. I'm in the current process of trying to turn it back on its head, where I'm using it, and I'm messaging you and connecting, and fingers crossed we can do a collaboration. I've got this in my heart. You're just a cool guy.
Exactly, man. Yeah,
but that is it, utilising it and speaking to cool people, because the amount of times where I've just been scrolling, my partner goes, "What are you doing?" And I think, what am I doing? Seriously, what have I spent the last 20 minutes on?
Yeah.
But then she can ask again, and I'm like, oh, I'm just speaking to George and he's going to come podcast, or I've got collaboration on here, and you can use it to your advantage.
Yeah, I think it's the whole thing of that people have been talking about recently. Is just like, if you're a creative or if you're like an entrepreneur or whatever, just make sure you're using it rather than it's using you. Making sure that you're not you're not the product, rather than you're using the product.
Have you seen the social dilemma?
Yeah,
That's a perfect example. But from that as well, they're saying, we all talk about algorithms as this really dangerous, powerful corruption, but it's shown that if you just type in puppies all day, that's what you'll be shown.
Yeah.
So you're also corrupting yourself by what you type in and what you're looking at.
Yeah, it's a reflection of your own searches and stuff, isn't it?
They'll only show you what you're putting in.
Yeah.
So if you can start manipulating it to your own advantage.
Yeah.
I've been doing that again, buying things but to better my equipment. Like I say, asking for collaborations, but the searches I'm getting, and particularly on YouTube, so my algorithm in YouTube, it's all on learning.
Yeah.
I do a lot of Final Cut Pro
and
trying to do Logic a bit. I don't know, you can help me one day, mate. I needed an online tutorial. I've bought a MIDI and I've not used it yet. I've had it a year. I try and spin so many plates, but everything on my algorithm is all on a tutorial in this and this.
Yeah.
I don't feel that's too dangerous.
No, I think that's a good thing, and I like at the moment, because I've not been able to play football with my mates. But literally my YouTube algorithm is just like football clips and stuff, and that's not what it looked like a couple months ago. It was like all Logic tutorials, Ableton tutorials, Pro Tools tutorials, all that kind of stuff.
So what are you watching? Because I bet I've got a couple of
Because I'm just watching now like Ronaldinho best tricks and stuff now at the moment.
Did you ever watch back in the day the really old one with the golden boots?
Yeah. When the vapors and
is that,
hits the
is
bar.
that fake?
It must be. It
got,
must be
He
fake.
hit it 5 times in a row. Bing!
I love videos like that.
Oh, dude, yeah, I've got in a bit of a problem because, okay, I've got Rhythmical Mike on one YouTube profile, but then I've got the Old Farm Bus.
Yeah.
And I've mixed them up.
Yeah. The algorithms are all crossed.
Rhythmical Mike sound, that's all for my learning.
Yeah.
But then when I go on the Old Farm Bus one, that's where the football, and I've got rugby tackles as well. I love watching big rugby fights, so I started on that, but then it's so appealing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
What's Messi been up to?
They know exactly how to get you. Yeah, I watch a lot of NFL, and it's
That's
just like
a good one.
biggest
The
NFL
biggest
hits. Yeah.
top 10 something.
Yeah. I feel like I'm
such
12
men.
years old. I feel like I'm 12 years old when I'm watching them. I'm like, yeah, this is really cool.
Okay, I'm going to be honest now. If we're looking at escapism, I've lost hours and hours to this. When I get in a YouTube trance, it's dangerous, isn't it?
Yeah, YouTube rabbit holes, I think, are some of the most addictive.
Is it?
I just think, for me personally,
it's visual, there's sound,
so stimulating, sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's in like you're learning stuff, and
then the thumbnail next to it. But this will be my last one.
Yeah,
Waylaying. Yeah, my recent. Do you like all sport?
I like a lot of sport. I'm not as big of a sports fan as when I was like a teenager. I was massive into the sports. I still watch a lot of footy, and I still watch American football, and that's about it. Really.
I'm a big football fan, but I just love football.
Yeah.
I work for Leicester City, and now we've just made a track together at the minute. It's coming out soon.
Really?
Yeah, really
That's
excited. Yeah, it's I work for Leicester in the community, Leicester City in the community, and I've been going in and out of the club for quite a few years now. My mate, who I used to play football with, is one of the coaches there.
Cool.
So he got me in, and there was one time we turned up and Danny Simpson's there. And I think Vardy was there, and I'm giving my talk and trying to get kids into poetry. All different schools have come in, all the best kids that get treated to go to Leicester City.
Yeah.
And as I'm doing this poem, the players all walk in. Killed it.
No longer you're not the biggest star in the room anymore.
Rhythmical boys here. But it was good because we got to get them to do some of the poetry, and they were reading some of the poetry books out for the kids. It was lovely.
Love that.
But when I go with Leicester, and sometimes they give us tickets, and I get to sit with all the people that work with Leicester, and they're the loveliest, kindest people. So that's where my heart lies.
Sure.
But really, I think I just annoy people because when I'm watching football, I don't pick a team. I just love watching.
Yeah.
It's a great sport.
Yeah.
My dad has to pick a team. He played semi-pro football for a long time. Yeah, he went Alfreton, Hina. I think it's one of them stories where he would have made it.
Yeah.
Because everyone talks about Dave Markham, and he was this player. He used to play with a couple of old Nottingham Forest legends, Kenny Burns and so on.
Yeah.
And but they wrote in his book, and they wrote, Dave Markham, one of the best left backs you'll ever meet, or whatever. He was just steady Eddie. But he met my mum and went on that path instead.
It's always the forward to the romance. Yeah.
But he's got this tribal mentality when it comes to football. He loves to be involved. And when he had to stop playing football for a while, and he used to support Forest and then went Leeds, took a long time out. But my sister's partner is a big Arsenal fan. So when they all come round together, it is a nice vibe. My dad decided to pick Arsenal, and it's just they're all getting up together. And then I think, maybe I'll be an Arsenal fan for this match.
I'm a Spurs fan. So,
oh, yeah. Well, you got more to laugh at than us.
Yeah. Well, not we lost to Liverpool last night.
3-1, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was good. The last game where Pete was allowed to come down, my sister's partner, he was really talking bad on Iwobi, just slating him, and he was on the bench. And then at the 89th minute, Iwobi comes on, And I just went, and he's like, "Why are you bringing him on? What are you doing?" And I went, "Pete, just put a tenner on." Him scoring. He put a tenner on and he scored. And I remember
Cheered him up.
we went mental. We went to the pub. We had some food. I think
Does
he
he
made
love it
about
Wobie now?
150 quid, maybe 300 quid. It was something like that. But it was a lovely moment, and that was one of them where I thought, football is good.
It is good. It's definitely
can-
It's a lot of connection and it is lovely. There's obviously some idiots that in everything that ruin it, but.
What sort of player were you like then?
I like to think of I like to think of myself as like quite a skillful, good passer, but really, I think I was. I'm allowed to swear.
Yeah, of course, man,
every team needs like the team dickhead, don't they? Like, and I
You
think
should see the calmness of everyone after they swear once on in like, "Fuck it, I'm done."
yeah, I think every team needs a team dickhead,
Yeah,
like a nasty player who will like leave a foul in.
Is that you?
And I think I realised that I wasn't strong enough, wasn't fast enough.
Yeah.
But I could like compete. I was like, I got like quite competitive
good mindset.
So I was a bit of the team dickhead for a while. I think now I'm less so. But
Did you used to play five-a-side as well?
I used to play. I still play 5-a-side now. Sometimes play 7-a-side, and I want to get back into 11-a-side. I miss it.
Dude, I'm desperate.
Yeah.
I've done my ACL
Have you?
and MCL at the same time.
Oh, mate.
It was a niggly match, and I've never been semi-pro level, but it was good standard.
Sure.
We were playing Sunday League where it's terrible and just a laugh, but then your Saturday team, we might be all right. But it was in one of the Sunday matches as well, and this guy would just been back and forth in all match, and the ball was miles away, and we were running side by side, and he come in like from quite far away, side by side, but then smashed into me, and my leg just went the complete wrong way. Oh, dude! And I remember, and then because it was a cup match, and I think it might have been a quarter final or whatever it was, all my mates were, get up. So I did. I got up. My knee's massive, and I'm running off. I'm trying to run a ruptured ACL and MCL off, and I played the rest of the match.
Walk it off.
No, maybe I played on about 5 or 10 minutes, and I was like, guys, this is not right. Kept like giving way, but COVID times, man. I need to have that done. That's probably another year out anyway. It's just a shit. I really love sport, boxing. I tried MMA, football. That's where my heart was always at, was sport. That's how I was brought up and grown. Were you more of the musical side?
No, well, yeah, I was a bit of both. I mean, I all my mates like, I love them to pieces, but it was all like always like I was like mates with the lads and stuff. Like talking to them about like writing lyrics and stuff just isn't something you do. Like
we've been on the same journey, brother. I can feel it. I was also the team dickhead, so there's something connected.
Big little union and team dickheads.
Could you imagine?
But yeah, no, I've always been musical and I've always been interested. It wasn't like with my mates. I was never like, I'm writing lyrics about this.
It was the lads then.
Like we have banter and stuff, but they're all good guys. But
you're still close.
Still really good mates with all my mates from school. Really, fortunately enough. But yeah, I'd never really opened up about my musical side. It was always like something I did. Maybe that's why I'm like bedroom producer now, because I was always like just sitting with my guitar, hiding away, like, and obviously I did gigs and got people down, but that was when I was playing with my mates. But actually writing stuff and creating stuff, it wasn't something I liked to open up about at all. And I still find it tricky to like talk to my mates who've known me the whole life and be like, yeah, this song's about this or this song's about that, because they're like.
But when they did see it unfold and your music's coming out, what was the response like? What did you have?
Always hella supportive and like just really? They're like lovely guys, but it's just for when you grow up and you want to be a footballer or whatever, and then starting to open up about creative stuff, I've just never found it easy, and that's like you can go into a whole different thing about what that's about, but but for me, like I'm getting better at opening up about my creative process and stuff, and it's the same with like collaborations as well. I'm really bad at like being in a room with someone and writing lyrics, because I feel like writing lyrics for me is like the most it's the most like personal thing you can do. You like literally just what am I actually feeling, like the deepest like the truest feeling, and how do I get that down on paper? It's not an easy thing for people to open up about, especially if you're like a blokey bloke and
masculinity,
like exactly.
I mean, I've definitely had that experience when Ripley is where the EDL or BMP sort of bred from.
Sure.
So you're sort of getting an idea of the mentality. And for me, I love the lads' sort of banter, but I was very much a social butterfly because I've been brought up in a very different way.
Sure.
So I thought differently. My granddad was from Persia. He was a doctor in the
Amazing.
community. So already my mum's very liberal because that sort of, well, we've got somebody of a different ethnicity and race in quite a racist place. Do you know what I mean? So we're open people, and then closed off. There was a lot of I don't want to say animosity, but it was a strange attitude at school. I had different views, and that could alienate you. And later on, I didn't have the best upbringing. It was a bit hard and authoritative, so I become a nan kid. Now I got really fat from being a nan kid because, you know, Kinder eggs, Marmite sandwiches, just all the good stuff. Anytime you want nan, got a little bell. I got really fat, so I was in this really bullied, and I just wanted to make connections and be happy and friendly, and I become a butterfly from that. I didn't have a massive friendship circle, but then later on when I did find poetry, I found a passion. Coming out of the closet of being a poet, it was really tricky. So I put a few things on, and first of all, it was all mockery, and everyone, have you seen what Mike is up to? Sharing it as if it's one of them, everyone laugh at this sort of things. And then later on, when I'm supporting the Rizzle Kicks, I've played on a stage with Russell Brand, I've been all over the country with it. It turned into this, oh, have you seen what Mike is up to?
Yeah.
It was a completely different display of it. And it's just strange that, first of all, most people, when it's new, they're a bit, what's this?
Yeah.
But then when you start doing okay with it, it's like, oh, interested.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I was always like scared of failure with it, and like talking about it, I didn't want to like seem, I don't embarrass myself. Like I felt embarrassed talking about writing songs or whatever initially, but then you start to realize that like even even my favorite artists in the world, they still get people who slate them online.
Yeah,
they still get people who hate their music, and you start to realize that actually someone's song isn't for everyone. Like it's never going to be for everyone. No one's ever going to like one song. So just make it, and if someone likes it, someone likes it, and if not, who cares? Because
I think that's the perfect attitude, and it's a good discovery as an artist, and I think a lot of people would benefit from going on that path.
Yeah.
Because we focus on comments, and particularly the negative comments, and it's just that, like you said before, balance it. Don't focus too much on the good ones or the bad ones. Just keep creating and making your music, and let the good ones come along for the ride with you as well.
Yeah, exactly, and it's really interesting that people are always so quick to mock, like you said, but in actual fact, once it gets, it's never going to be, your music is never going to be for your friends. Like they will be the ones who will help you share it initially, or in other people's cases mock them initially. But if you really want to like get your music out there, and it's going to be the moment that you touch a random stranger, that's going to be more valuable to you. Like obviously it's amazing when your friends or your parents share your music, but they're always going to back you. But like, yeah, I think music, when it's really amazing, is when like a random stranger and you have a moment of connection, and that's why you just got to kind of cut out the noise with everyone who knows you and isn't going to like it anyway.
That they've always been my best moments when you've done a gig or even online, when somebody neutral that didn't need to come out their way to tell you that touched them or that meant something to them, but they've really made a moment of it. So that's when it feels, oh, this is what I want to do. This is special.
It's really like rewarding, isn't it, when you have that moment? It makes it all worthwhile. It makes all the like the graph, the studying algorithms, studying whatever, the sleepless nights of finishing off music or whatever, and then you just have someone who's just like, sorry for the random message, but
thank you so much for what you've done.
And you're like, oh shit, this has actually had an impact on someone.
My favourite message I've ever received, and I get it quite a lot, is I really don't like poetry, but I love what you did. And let's say it's nice because I feel they've tuned in and thought, I'll give this guy a bit of time, and then they've had 10 seconds and then 20 and then 30 and they thought, I'm in.
Actually, I'm sold. Yeah.
And I've maybe converted somebody into it. And poetry, there's so many different avenues and ways of telling a story and writing your lyrics and portraying a message. It's not just for the elites, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. I guess that's testament to the way you like you're so authentic with your poetry.
Thank you, man.
I was telling you before, I'm not like a massive poetry person, but like when you find someone like you for those people you've connected with, you may have opened like the world of poetry up to them, and then they might start getting more into different poets and stuff as well. So yeah, it's I think it's testament to how authentic you are with it.
Look, some lovely moment is when people go, I've never wrote a thing before, but I saw what you did and I've given it a go, and then they've sent me something through, and man, I honestly getting goosebumps now thinking of it, and that's a lovely encouragement, because I was terrified of writing, dyslexic at school, had an awful experience, hated education, particularly writing. That was the one area I used to get laughed at all the time. I wasn't allowed in my English classes in the end. I was in bottom set, and then I think I threw a table or did something a Mikey would do.
Were you quite a naughty kid?
I got kicked out, man. Both schools. Primary school, I got asked to go to another one. Secondary school, and there's a good story there, and I go into schools and tell people this and tell my true story. I don't go in and like, I was that poster boy kid, but I just give my honest, authentic story. And it is of really not understanding my place in life, not doing well in education, finding severe mental health, but then writing saved me. And it is that story, I suppose, where you can go in and give a good keynote speak on it, but it's just true. It was a passion. It come to me. But writing in particular is just so beautiful, to be able to decipher everything that's going on in your mind, going back through all your past, looking at all them painful experiences, happy experiences, and laying them out for yourself and trying to piece together that. A good writer for me is somebody that's been on a journey and got a lot of tales or wisdom, advice, whatever it is. Have you been on a bit of a journey then to make good writing, or can you just tell a good story?
I think for me, I think I'm a different style of lyricist to a lot of people, in that I'm really rubbish at like being like, I did this and then I did this and this is how I felt. For me, like my favorite lyricists have always been people who like on like the 9th or 10th listen, you're like, actually does he mean this, actually does he mean this, and like I like sort of like abstract or like just quite metaphorical like lyricists, and I guess like I'm kind of like that as well, and maybe that's stemming from never wanting to open up too much about my emotions again, but like I'm always just like,
hey, there's a common theme here.
Something
what's up with you, boy? No, it's time for therapist Mikey to
you've
come out.
unfurled me. I'm really digging it out. No,
I'm like a Louis Theroux by accident. I don't want that power.
Exactly. No, but I like writing lyrics and sort of like how I'd put it is just sort of like telling a story but not being so explicit that like I want people to not work, but I want people to, you know, still be getting stuff from it on the 3rd or 4th listen, and because that's what I like doing when I hear lyricists. So I wouldn't say I'm like a wise old journeyman with telling tales of my life on the road or whatever. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I do like put a lot of truth into my lyrics, but I also like masking it with trying to make it something that people will get value from after
still
lots of
relate
listens.
to.
Yeah, exactly.
I've just gained a real deep appreciation for this and entendres and metaphors in music, because for me, I was growing up on the streets, Mike Skinner, and very much I can visualize everything. I'm in the picture.
He's pointing at what he's seeing, and he's saying, "This is happening here. This is happening here."
100%, and but still being good enough to play with the words and use nice imagery.
Brilliant at it. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah, it's like the wetness of his clothes, and you can feel that, and it's crisp and something against it. So I've loved that because it's direct and to me, and I can relate to that. And part of my mental health back in there, I went through sort of psychosis and really severe poor mental health. And the funny thing what you said there is, do you know when people were doing metaphors similarly and sort of messages to decipher and work out, I felt a bit annoyed by it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's a different style, isn't it?
They're trying to be better than me.
Yeah.
It was a terrible attitude that I had, but it was a young attitude, and I didn't understand why they couldn't just say it as it was.
Yeah.
But now I've come out of that mental health. I feel much better in myself, more grounded, and I'm listening to music differently. As I've done that, the appreciation and love, I'm even reading old ancient poetry now, I've got a love and a deep appreciation for what it is, and to listen to a message, to look at the metaphor, look at a simile, and really get to sieve between it and piece it out, and what does it mean to you?
Yeah.
Whereas at school, if you asked me to do that on poetry, I'd be like, F off, mate. What he just means that clearly. And I think a good idea for educators or teachers, I go into schools and teach poetry and how we can make it more engaging in a classroom. And it'd be a good idea to get the kids to be poets first or become writers. And then when they go on to talk about mythical figures and look at how they write, they'd be more engaged with it, more interested in doing it. I think the problem is we look at writers and they just seem... There's a writer and there's what they are, where everybody could be included in a writer.
Yeah.
And when you feel you are something, you're more inclined to look at it.
100%. I felt like that with music. Like when I was learning music at school, like I didn't enjoy it. It was only when I like made music by myself, I was like, actually, I'm going to try making something. I actually like really fell in love with it. It was like singing in school, I never enjoyed it that much, like or whatever. And then once I started actually writing myself, I was like, actually, I may as well listen to music. And that's when I actually started like trying. It was one of the only subjects I actually tried in at school, because I was like, actually, they're doing something. And like you say, like even like books or at school or films at school, I could never really relate to it until afterwards. Like if you watch the same, you'd watch like a film at school, and then if I watched it now, I'd much more enjoy it now, just because I'm not being made to watch it. So I think it's a good idea to get kids
turn
to like,
them into
write
the creator,
turn
them into the writer, turn them into the musician, and then when we start looking at the analysis behind it, they're going to have a much more grounded aspect towards it.
It makes it way more relatable.
Yeah, that's what we want. When we go, what was William Wordsworth thinking over here? I don't know who this guy is, what it means, what this daft poem is, but when you become a little William Wordsworth and you've got a story that is worth listening to and people want to hear because you've spent time on it, you go, oh, what's this guy doing back then? Oh, he used to be on heroin. He had loads of like prostitutes living with him. Okay, I like the sound of this guy. I've been to his house. I learned all the things William Wordsworth. He was a geezer. Cheers for that, Martin. You took me. with all that, and your writing and how you write, has it changed in time as well? Have you found influences from different people or?
I think so. I think your situations change in your life, and that's just reflected in your lyrics. I don't think I think it's difficult to say like I'm a better lyricist than I was 5 years ago, because every style is different, and I was a much different style a few years ago than I am now. And I like you said, like people like the Streets, I could never do. I'm not saying he's worse than me. I could never do anything remotely close to how he writes. It's just not how I write.
This is why our collaboration makes so much sense.
I love that.
I'm just going to pin you on this bus. You're not getting past.
I'm game, bro. I'm game.
I'm in.
And likewise with yourself, I could never write the way that you do, because I don't know. It's just not how I compute my feelings. I'm more like, I write lyrics when I'm by myself, and I'm sort of I don't know, just really digging deep and trying to not mask it, but yeah, like I was saying earlier, just trying to make it something that people want to unpick,
hidden.
Yeah, exactly. And that's not to say I'm like the most metaphorical lyricist in the world. I'm definitely not. But I've definitely like developed a style that I'm comfortable with, and
with the voice, we were touching on that. It's bloody good. Like you have a fucking beautiful voice.
Thanks,
it's
mate.
stunning. Did you have a mentor pick you up, and somebody back in day again, or anyone go, do you know what, Gretton, you need to start going around with that?
Mr. Dyer at school, my music teacher, he was always really supportive of me. And
Hey, bruv.
big up if you're watching, Ken. He was really, really supportive of me. But to be honest, I still maintain I was a really crap singer at school. And when I was growing up, I'd sing in bands because I liked being in a band. And I think with singing for me, it was just always a confidence game. And now I'm like, feel like, I know where my voice sounds good and where it doesn't sound good. So I think I've got like a original voice in that, like I know where not to go, because I'm not a virtuoso singer where if I'm really versatile. I write my songs which I know will suit my voice, and I know I can belt them if I need to, and I know that what my range is. So so it's definitely developed over time, and I've definitely got more confident with it. Especially, I think being a solo artist is the most sort of like baptism of fire kind of thing you can do with your vocals, because when you're in a band and you've got backing singers all the time and stuff, you can kind of, and you're like a big sort of loud noisy band, you can kind of get away with just shouting down the microphone. Whereas if you're sat just with the keyboard by yourself and you're having to like impress people with your vocals, then all of a sudden it's like get good or you're rubbish. so yeah, I've definitely like grown in confidence to that.
Do you still have lessons or anything in there?
No, I had one singing lesson, and no, I have never.
Didn't go to plan, or
it was just like a tester lesson, and I like singing songs that I like, and I was singing like songs that I didn't like, so I was just like, there was nothing against singing lessons. Like I could definitely use some for sure.
It's that high pitch you go to.
Yeah, the falsetto. Yeah,
falsetto for you, dude. It works so well.
Oh, thanks, mate.
Does it just feel comfortable when you get to that point?
Yeah. A lot of my favourite singers sing for like do you know Bon Iver or like Frank Ocean's, people like that? They sing. They're some of my favourite vocalists, and they sing like really nice falsetto sometimes. And for me, it just feels like I never really had like a big deep voice or anything. I've always had quite like a voice where I could go high if I needed to. And yeah, I just like it. Like I used to be kind of like shy. I used to want to like belt my vocals, and still that works sometimes, but I do like going to the falsetto.
I love when artists do create a sound like the falsetto is sort of a signature for you, I suppose. Do you know with Paolo Nutini, he's got that like grouty sort of down here, and does he sound like that in interviews?
I don't know. I don't watch. One of my mates is a really big Paolo Nutini fan, so I'll ask him.
He's genius.
Yeah, he's got a super like growly voice.
Times, but I've not really watched interviews. No. I just wonder if that is him.
Apparently he's Scottish, but when he sings, he doesn't sound Scottish at all. He sounds like really like, I don't know, like sitting in a pub like an old folk singer or something.
My favourite is like Geordies or something. They talk like that in an interview, and then suddenly you just see this hey da da, and you're just like, what happened? How can you just go from that
like Jay
to that?
Bug, his voice. He's like from Clifton, and he sounds like he's
Nottingham.
from Tennessee or something. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, fair play. He's got an amazing voice. So.
I've just looked on here. I forgot to plug my laptop in. We're on 4%.
Oh, I love that
battery. No, we've got 4% battery. Do you want me to stop it, or would you?
It's up to you, man.
Well. Would you ever come back for a podcast?
Yeah.
Would you ever do this again?
Yeah, of course I would.
I'm sorry, everybody. You know, sometimes you just leave a daft one, and I know it's inside, so then we'd stop and everything. But what I could say is, if we were wrapping it up, where can people find this new track of yours?
Yeah.
What have we got next, and when are we collaborating?
Yeah, okay.
I'm really sorry about that, dude.
No, so absolutely fine. So we got really sidetracked by education and feelings and everything.
We've been everywhere, and then I saw the 4% flash up and low battery. I thought, oh no.
So I've got my 3% to plug myself.
Yes.
And no more talking about football.
Oh, God, let me go and fetch the thing.
No, I'm only teasing. Listen to my new single on Spotify. It's called Sideline. And just come say hello to me on social media, whether it's Instagram or whatever. And
still 4%, mate. Don't worry, you don't have to do that quick.
And I'm always what's coming up. I'm always just writing, so I've got new music coming very soon, and I'm producing for other people as well at the moment. So I'm producing for.
Do you make lo-fi? I feel like I just use this platform as a thing for my real selfish gain.
I don't make like classic lo-fi. I could recommend someone who does, but I've just been like producing. So what I like doing at the moment is like getting people who've recorded tracks at home, and then they'll just say like, just have some fun with it, give it some character, give it like just mess around with some sounds. So there's a band called B-Sides who I've been working with recently. They're from Coventry, and one of my mates from school's in them. And they're an amazing band, so I've been producing on some new music for them. That's really sick. And a guy called Rish Kaura, who is a good friend of mine as well. I've been producing a couple of tracks for him. And yes, I've been enjoying just working like remote, like producing remotely, like over the internet, and then just sending things back and forth.
Why I love the internet now, social media. You can find people. You can go on rabbit holes of finding people and creatives, and then creating new sounds through that, because obviously you're going to have a totally different influence to however other many people I'm working with at the minute. And it does, I think the important message for me is, if you can use social media for your advantage to go and, with your passion, make it the best it can be, rather than, what did you say before, letting it use you. I think that's a lovely attitude. Totally. I'm gonna try and utilize that. Yeah,
it's a battle, and it's not easy. Like people always talk about it, but it's really not easy to be the person like so disciplined with social media that, like, I'm going to get inspiration from here, and I'm gonna publish my own work, but I'm not gonna be like mindlessly scrolling, and I'm not gonna be going down algorithm rabbit holes and stuff. Like I'm just gonna get the most out of it. It's hard. I'm not good at it, but it's like something I'm trying to get better at for sure.
So next time when you're on, we'll be talking about the track that we've just made together.
Yeah.
Where we'll be talking about Radio 1 play and that crazy time we had
on tour.
on tour together
in New York.
And our favourite football goal, because I would have had that operation. We've got our 2 minutes, not even 2 minutes, we've probably got 2% left, so I'll say goodbye to everybody. Thank you for being here. You knew where to find him. Where is it? George Gretton music on everything. Spotify, I really recommend it. It's a beautiful add to your Spotify collection, and that's what I want. So guys, remember, be nice to one another. We've got 1% left. I best shut up. Have a good life. See you soon.